Yeah, man.
Hey, so this is Jason Panton representing Dubwise. You know, when we listen to a podcast, there's only one podcast for the lion, and it's the lion's voice. The lion's voice is the only voice that we listen to when we listen to a podcast. This is Jason Panton, Dubwise. Listen, get wise, the lion's voice.
What I'm saying is that the Bible is an African story. The original Hebrews were of African descent, and it ties into Haile Selassie being the fulfillment of this biblical story, because without Ethiopia, the biblical story is not validated, because the throne of David did not endure. We can now make the argument that the throne of David endured, because people might say, well, where's the throne of David today? And then I would say, look at Rastafari all over the world. The throne of David now lives in the hearts of Rastafari around the world.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chazmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm an entertainment attorney, I'm an author, I'm an actionist, and right now I'm the host of the Lion Voice. And I would just like to say welcome to the Chazmach Kwasi ecosystem. This is the Lion Voice, and we are so happy with how the channel, the movement, the Lion Pride are progressing. Have to big up the Patreon Lion Pride. We have ordered some microphones for the Lion Talk and for Lion Voice. Give thanks to the investment made by the Patreon Lion Pride. So, as we build this community, as we build this platform, we're going to be investing. You're going to actually get to see the growth. So if you want to be a part of the change, you want to be a part of the change, you want to join the action part, the solution side of the internet, make sure you go over to the Patreon, become a member of the Patreon Lion Pride, so we can build together this platform. That being said, we're going to continue this strong with our topic, which is Haile Selassie I God? This was very well received, the episode. I want to big up everyone who commented on the first iteration of the episode. We just touched on my own personal journey. We went through a little bit. We're going to go a little bit more in depth, as I said, and just even meditating on this topic of the divinity of Haile Selassie. I realized this may even have to be a 3-part series, because there's so much aspects. This episode, I want to just take time looking at some of the seminal biblical quotes that have been used in the Rastafari faith that I was exposed to coming up as a young Ras, and that I used to make sense of the journey, because remember, I came through the Pan-African lens. I didn't come up through the church. That's not my background. I was led to the Bible through the Kebanagas. I was led to the Kebanagas through Rastafari and Ethiopia, and realizing that Ethiopia was the only African nation that had never been conquered. And I'm wondering what made Ethiopia different than all of the mighty African nations, even my own Ashanti, from which my name comes from, were not able to withstand the onslaught of the scramble for Africa. But Ethiopia is there. So this concept of this land being blessed by the Almighty permeated my young mind. And again, looking at what did the Ethiopians say about their own story, this led to the Kebena Gas. When you read the Kebena Gas, you know, it's basically an extension of the Bible story. It's talking about Queen Makeda going to meet King Solomon, who's a prominent figure in the Bible. So right away, this is validating the biblical account, because this is now another civilization that is confirming the chart of the Hebrews. And remember, I said in the last episode, I realized reading the Bible that the Bible was an African story. It's important to realize that the scripture or the Bible, it tells a story, and that story, which starts in the Garden of Eden, which Africa is a part of that, because it talks about the river Nile, or as it's called there, the river Gihon. Talks about the river Euphrates, the river Tigris, the river Pishon, whatever those rivers are, whatever the configuration, that was all land inhabited by melanated people. So that lets us know right there that this is again an African story. From there we go to the patriarch Jacob in Genesis, who would become Israel, and the prophecy that he gave to his children, the 12 that would make up the 12 tribes of Israel. This is key, and every Rastafari know about Genesis 49:10. And Genesis 49:10 essentially is talking about the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until the coming of Shiloh, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So right away it's talking about Judah, establishing the tribe of Judah as being special. And again, when His Majesty was crowned, what do we see? There's no denying the impact of the Abrahamic religions. So the prophecy of Jacob to his sons, the 12 tribes of Israel. The prophecy of Jacob, when you look at Genesis 49, which is Jacob, who would become Israel, giving a prophecy to his sons, calling his sons, and he had 12 sons, one daughter, sister Dinah. Come and tell them about Judah. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until the coming of Shiloh, and unto him till the gathering of the people be. So this put Judah in your mind. And remember, His Majesty come onto the world stage as the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. We don't see any other world leader stepping out with these titles. And when we trace the Davidic throne, we see only one nation stand alone in proclaiming that throne in all of its glory and triumph. So Genesis 49:10 is one of the key scripture. Also Deuteronomy 28:68, which talks about the captivity of black people being put into captivity, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, in ships, taken away in ships, all of that. So that again, we're looking at the story as I'm reading the Bible and I'm hearing the elders talk about these things. I'm putting the story together. Then I reach 2 Samuel chapter 7, that talks about the covenant to King David, where he swears unto King David. It is not lost on I that Samuel is a dreadlock priest, who grew as a Nazarite from birth. The angels came. So even this connecting with dreadlock Rastafari and the covenant coming down, the heretical. So the throne of David from that Haile Selassie would ultimately stay was established by a dreadlocks priest. So this is something that when we're reading, we're saying, wow, we never see this in Western church. They never talk about these things. but it's right there when you read the story for yourself. And this is why it's so important for the lions to tell our own story, because then you would see that Samuel was a dreadlock priest who established, had the prophecy, and who blessed and anointed King David on the throne, again fulfilling the prophecy of Jacob to Judah. So Judah now become the leader over all of the other tribes. This is very important. Then that leads us to Psalm 68. How can we forget Ethiopia now stretch forth her hands? Crucial. This was a psalm that's attributed to King David. So after King David is anointed, he's on the throne, he gets a vision that Ethiopia will stretch forth her hand. King David dies, his son Solomon takes the throne. The very next generation, Ethiopia visits Jerusalem with the largest overland journey by any monarch of that era, with the Queen of Sheba, Queen Makeda, coming with her royal court to Jerusalem to meet King Solomon. It was written in the Bible. The account, the Kebra Gas, gives a more detailed account. And again, this is now establishing the Davidic throne in the mountains of Ethiopia. So 2 Samuel 7, one of them key. Isaiah chapter 9, probably one of the most critical because of all of those ancient prophecies. This is after King Solomon, where Israel, and again when you read the story, after Solomon, Israel is never the same. Solomon and David time is the apex of the Hebrew people in Jerusalem. After King Solomon time, there's a gradual decline that leads to the Babylon incursion. Jeremiah warns the children of Israel about the Babylonians. They don't listen, they're taken into captivity. Isaiah, same way, came, was warning. But at this time, Israel is not what it was under King Solomon. So when you're tracking the story, but Isaiah now has a prophecy, and that prophecy in Isaiah 9:6, unto us a child is born and a son is given, and government shall be upon his shoulders. You know, that is very important, because when His Majesty come now, we see that from he was a child, Rastafari, or the Chasmach Tafari, the government was on his shoulder, because after Menelik there was no one in the realm who was uniquely equipped like young Rastafari to govern the nation, having Ras as a father who had traveled overseas, who had seen the vast infrastructure of Europe, who had brought in private tutors to train his son, and who had a thirst for learning like nothing the Ethiopian Empire had ever seen. So he was uniquely situated. The government was on his shoulder, as it says, wonderful counselor. You know, he would grow up to be one of the great mediators of the time, negotiating peace deals in Sudan. He was called in to negotiate peace in Biafra in Nigeria. He was also negotiating Algeria and Morocco. He made an appeal for peace at the League of Nations in 1936, foretold of the Second World War. All of these things, wonderful counselor. So he fits this prophecy. The mighty God is well documented that when he came to Jamaica, he was called Jah, Rastafari, the Almighty. So regardless whether you believe he's the creator or not, you cannot deny that he was given these titles as he walked the earth. This is just historical facts. Prince of Peace, again, getting Ethiopia admitted into the League of Nations in 1924, and always doing everything in his power, even before he came to the throne, to maintain peaceful empire, ridding the empire of slavery. All of these things, fighting against slave trade. Haile Selassie I, and again, it took time to eradicate slavery, which was very rampant in Ethiopia, ancient practice. It took time, but no other emperor took it more serious than Haile Selassie, and by his efforts, the society was fundamentally transformed around this institution, set the captives free. The everlasting Father, again, he's hailed as the everlasting Father from that time to this time. The amount of Rastafari in the earth only increases. We have no organized proselytization. We don't go out there and knock door to door. So just through the knowledge is spreading, the tide that's sweeping, people finding out about His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I. And big up, I ran into some African American brethren on Clubhouse who, came to the divinity of the King completely independent from Rastafari movement as it emerged out of Jamaica. These brethren just researching prophecy, looking at history, and coming to the conclusion of who Haile Selassie is on their own. So big them up. I'll probably try interview some of them for a Lion Talk. Fascinating things that are happening in the earth right now. Not being brought to you, but it will be brought to you on this channel. So just stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because this is an uprising. We're documenting the whole fullness of what's happening. We have to talk about Isaiah 43. So this is a passage that, when you talk about repatriation, and big up our elder brother Jack, he would always call for this passage to be read. I shall say to the north, give up, to the south, keep not back. Call my sons from afar, my daughters from the ends of the earth. Mighty piece of prophecy. We still haven't seen it manifest, but we know repatriation is a must, and we look forward to live to see these things. But one thing cannot be denied is that His Majesty reserved land for black people in the West to return home. So he called the children home. He did visit all the nations of the earth and extend a welcome for them to come and rebuild the children that were exiled, the black people who were brought into bondage. He did invite them home to come and rebuild. He did say Africa awaits our creators and creation. His speech at the founding of the OAU did say that Africans, some of them had never touched their foot on the continent, proclaiming that sixth region, which now is a reality. Before there was a sixth region. All of these things were uttered from the mouth of His Imperial Majesty. So these things, again, in prophetic terms, being fulfilled from the throne of David. You cannot argue the history. It is what it is. Psalms 87, when we talk about Ethiopia, this man was born there. The highest of himself shall establish her. And when we look at Haile Selassie establishing the foundation of Africa in Addis Ababa, in the mountains, from the throne of King David, the significance cannot be overstated. And I want to make something clear. I'm not saying that every black person is a Hebrew or descendant of the black Hebrews. No. Africa is diverse. There are all different peoples and tribes. But what I'm saying is that the Bible is an African story. The original Hebrews were of African descent. And it ties into, Haile Selassie being the fulfillment of this biblical story. Because without Ethiopia, the biblical story is not validated, because the throne of David did not endure. We can now make the argument that the throne of David endured, because people might say, well, where's the throne of David today? And then I would say, look at Rastafari all over the world. The throne of David now lives in the hearts of Rastafari around the world. The Lion of Judah flag, which represents the throne of David, now flies in every country across the planet. not by politics, but by faith. It's now it's moved from the political realm to the spiritual realm. So coming full circle, because again, when you look at the biblical story, the children of Israel, they didn't have a king, or they didn't have a living. They cried to the Creator to have a king, which is why the Davidic throne was established to fulfill the promise unto Jacob and all of these things. And this throne was established, and because they wanted to see their Creator, Israel's God as Israel's king, was the chant. But now we look at all of this, and again it comes full circle to where now the throne of David is in the hearts of all Rastafari globally. Lion of Judah flies. So the covenant that was sworn to David, that your throne would have no end as long as the sun and the moon endure. The argument now can be made that is correct, that lives. You take Ethiopia out of the equation, the throne of David perished long ago. Because when we look at what happened in Jerusalem, the blessing of it, it's clear that the Almighty had removed its blessing there. But when we look at the only country to never be conquered, that the Almighty blessed its people with its greatest gift, which was freedom, we again, Ethiopia in the spotlight. So this is, how I look at things, because regardless of whether you say Kemet, whatever creator you praise, we have to be able to see, I have to be able to see the impact in the real world, or else where's the power of the deity or the creator that you claim if you can't see the impact? There's no denying the impact of the Abrahamic religion's faith worldview on the earth. And again, the root of this was hidden from the original children, which is why the earth is in chaos. But again, it leads to Ethiopia being that light and that pathway in the story. Revelation 5:5 is one of the most powerful. Revelation 3, I have to talk about first, where it said that the Christ would come with a new name. This is also one of the key. Big up to John 9, the new name song. Also we're talking about Revelation 5:5, weep not, behold the Lion of the tribe of Judah has prevailed to open the book and loose the seventh seal thereof. That is one of the most powerful. Can't forget that one. Revelation 17, upon his name and upon his vesture he shall have his name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Also, dressed in the crimson, and then we see his Majesty coronation garment, full red, crimson again. So all of these things, as a young Ras, we look at them, we study them, we put two and two together, and we come up with the conclusion of who Haile Selassie I is. And then one of the greatest things is that his Majesty never claimed to be the Almighty, and a lot of people use that and say, well, they say he's God, but we have to overstand and this is how I see it. Again, many can disagree, but when you have the Almighty purpose for manifesting in flesh and bone is as an example to his creation of how to walk within this reality. And if you're going to be an example, you cannot be going and exalting yourself and saying I'm this and I'm that, I'm the creator, because the creator cannot be contained only to one vessel. The creator is in us all, but the full manifestation in terms of the head, which is Ras Tafari, the one to be feared or respected, the head, that focal point, that manifestation is there. So it strengthens the claim of who is to I, that he never claimed to be the Almighty, because again, that's the perfect example. We see him in prayer. We see him glorify the Son glorify the Father, because when we see Yeshua trod, we see Yeshua giving all the praise unto the Father. My Father that's in heaven, my Father's kingdom is coming. Yeshua not stop talking about the Father. And then when we see the Father manifest in the physical, which we would say Haile Selassie is the Father, because he had the responsibility of the government. Remember that Yeshua was just coming to free the people's soul. So he's walking with the disciple, feed some man with some bread and some fish and them something. He never had responsibility for payroll, for build school, for build hospital, for raise the standard of the people. That's a father work. The Son don't have them responsibility. Father had to do that in the physical, set the established foundation so that heaven and earth can manifest, so that the kingdom, again, the Father's kingdom. And when you look at that Father's kingdom, what did you see? You see him glorifying the Son, defender of the Christian faith, defender of the faith, King of Kings. So the Son glorified the Father glorified the Son, is a balance. So these are the things. I'm going to go through the life. We're going to look at, we laid out some of these key prophecies. I have to talk about Jeremiah 23. Jeremiah 23 talks about, the line of David unto David. He shall rise a righteous branch. All of these things we have to talk about. So I'm going to have to do a part 3 because I don't want these episodes to be too long. Part 3 will look at the life of His Majesty, why this exemplary life qualifies in I and I view as one of the divinity of the Father, of that manifestation of the perfect man. We will go through and we will outline it in the next episode. So make sure you hit the notification. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep this reasoning. You disagree, make sure you put a comment in the comments. Again, I'm sharing my story. I don't debate this with people because your faith is personal. The state is for all, but your spirituality is personal. I'm sharing my pathway because for the young Rastas coming in, it can be very helpful, to hear and to look, and they can go and do the due diligence. They can research those biblical prophecies. They can read through it and spark an interest in reading. So we are going to continue this reasoning. The next Lion Voice, I may do something else, another topic to break it up, or I may just do, let me know in the comments if you want part 3 right away or you want some other content. Again, give thanks to everybody who has been commenting. Give thanks to everyone who is making this journey beautiful. Again, we passed 600 subscribers. We're growing rapidly. We're going to build, we're going to be upgrading the technology. Give thanks to the Patreon Lion Pride and their contribution. This is a family affair. Remember, this Monday, we're now in Women's History Month, so big up all of the woman history. We have a special Lion Talk. I'm so excited. My good bona fide sister, Dr. Walete Beresford, also known as Mama Walete, is going to be our first female guest on the Lion Talk show. So make sure you tune in Monday morning, 9 a.m. We have so much content planned. We have whole heap of Lion Talk for share. We have whole heap of Lion Law. We had our first Lion Law episode. It hit over 100 views. We're just getting started. So again, the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion Voice.
Lion Voice. Well, the leaders of the world have failed in their responsibility to lead the youth them to a brighter future. Well, I and I hear the conquering line of the tribe of Judah, Earth's rightful ruler. I just the way Rastafari crowd unconquerable. Me come to tell them now about Babylon near falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about the way Rastafari crowd unconquerable. Me come to tell them now about Babylon near falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about Holy Palace intrigue, infighting between Solomon's seed. Well, Empress Title want her family to lead. Well, King Michael want him son to lead, but King Michael now watch the orphan married to him niece, who get up every day and I study and I read. He work and he pray every day. He achieve. Them say you're good leader. Every nation need a just the way Rastafari crown unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about the Rastafari crown unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Well, Ras Michael, son was having a good time when he should mind the affairs of the state, cause he's descent from the great line of Menelik II. But he's stepping on toes of his elders, treat his women like hoes. He exposed, now we working with the Ottoman Turks. Say he's descending from Muhammad, but that's not how this works. See, the crown was anointed by the Orthodox Church. So if you're all ruling as I done, you have to put Christ first.